What's up, everybody? Welcome to AMA Friday. I do this every Friday at noon, and today I'm talking about the best and worst developers in the Dominican Republic. I get this question all the time. Who are the best? Who are the worst? And I'm always kind of batting it off. But look, I know a lot of you, like me, want to make sure that your investment is protected if you were to invest down here. So I'm going to do my very, very best to share all the information I can on identifying the best developers and identifying the worst developers. And I'll name names. I'm going to name names today. So welcome to the AMA Friday. Let me know where you're from. Drop it down in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, let's dive right into it. I'm going to talk about the best developers first, because the best developers, in my mind, are easier to identify, and they're universally looked at that way by all industry professionals, whether it's local investors, local realtors, or whatever it might be. So let's start with that. Here's how I identify the best developers. They've done projects full cycle. So they've actually completed a full project. They've delivered a project. That's one. A second way I identify a good developer is that they have people local living here. They're actually here, physically, locally here. And then the third way is that, hey, have they been through some market cycles? Have they been through the COVID downturn? Have they been through the '08 downturn or whatever it might be? Like, do they have some scar tissue? Have they developed some grit? Those are the three things that I look for in a good developer. So here are, for me, the 4, maybe 5 developers that I'll share that I hear are universally thought of as very good, or that I'm actually working with and investing with specifically. And I'm going to save number 1 for last. But let me start with who I'm investing with. So if you're new to the channel, by the way, my name is Jamie Gruber. I've been here as an expat in the Dominican Republic for the last few years. Every Friday I go live at noon. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. It helps to grow the channel. And I donate 2 cents for every subscribe to Second Mile Mission to end poverty and human trafficking in the Dominican Republic. So I appreciate you doing that. The first developer I'll mention is called Boardwalk Developments. For those that you follow me, you're like, of course, Boardwalk. You know that I've invested in Boardwalk in 2 different things. Number 1, an apartment in Cortecito, which is a beach town to the north of Punta Cana. And number 2, a plot of land up in Miches, which is about a 90-minute drive north, kind of the next Punta Cana is what people would call it. Those are my 2 investments with Boardwalk. So I'm invested there. I believe in them. They check all the boxes for a good developer. The lead developer is local. She's been through a ton of market cycles here in the Dominican Republic, and they have full cycle projects they've completed, and they developed land before. So buying this plot of land where they're going to develop the land, I could see behind a community called Vista Cana where they've developed land. So they've got all that experience. So that's number 1, my first good developer that I could share with you that I have confidence in. I'm going to share 2 more, and then I'll share the number 1 in country. The next one that I haven't worked with, but I do plan to go see some of their work soon, but I've heard universally only good things about, and I've actually seen their signs, not just for real estate development, but doing like commercial construction work on roads and that sort of thing. And that's Grupo Estrella. I know my accent's not great. So it's E-S-T-R-E-L-L-A. E-S-T-R-E-L-L-A. That group universally is widely thought of as one of the top development groups in the entire country. Again, I haven't personally worked with them, but I have not heard yet anybody tell me anything but good things about that developer. So I've got Boardwalk Developments, who I've invested in, Grupo Estrella. A third one that I hear a lot of great things about is called Blue. Oh boy, I'm going to mess it up. Blue Wave. This is the downside of live. I got to remember. I think it's Blue Wave. They're developing a project in Vista Cana and a couple other spots. I think in Cap Cana as well. Blue Wave? Yes. Again, universally have heard very good things about them. I don't know them personally. I haven't worked with them personally, but if you're in a development or hear of a developer called Blue Wave, generally thought of as very, 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 very positive. Another one in Vista Cana is Paseo del Sendero. That developer, that project, I've heard very good things about overall. So these are the developers, again, that I've heard check all these boxes. They're local. They've got full cycle projects that they've completed, and they've got some grit. They've got some stuff that they've had to deal with in the past. Top developers in the area for sure. The other ones that I'll talk about are Noval. Noval's interesting. Noval is a very large company owned and operated out of the Dominican Republic. They have multiple projects going on inside of Cana Bay. They have one in downtown called Atlandita. They've got a few. A lot of their projects are delayed. So I put Noval as like, there's always an asterisk next to them for people like, man, they're delayed. But they're a super strong company. They're going to deliver. It's just going to be heavily delayed. And I know some people have some issues with them, but I've only heard positives about their structure, their organization, and their ability to deliver. If one day they don't on one of these projects that have been delayed and being built and all of that, then I'll change my mind on them. But I can tell you this, inside our inner circle, the DR inner circle, which if you want to join that, there's a link below. The question was asked about a few projects for Noval. And for my inner circle members, I like to go out and check things out. So I drove out to one of the projects because somebody said, man, it hasn't even broken ground. And I drove out to it. I drove into it. I looked around. I took some pictures, said, yes, it has. Actually, the first 2 or 3 buildings are already half constructed. So what I see with Noval is delays, but they seem to be pushing forward and getting through whatever it is that caused the delay, probably COVID. And they had a lot of projects all at once. But again, I'm hearing them as a good developer. Another one that I'll talk about quickly before I reveal my number 1 developer in the country, and it's by a mile, by the way. The number 1, even more, like I love Boardwalk, Cheryl Henderson, who's the founder of Boardwalk. I love it. I invest with you and everything else. Incredible development company. All these companies, from what I understand, are good. But my number 1 is like far and away the best. The other company I'll mention that I've done some research on and I've gotten some good feel off of is called CLERP, C-L-E-R-H-P. They're a Spanish-based company. They're building the Larimar project right now, and I think their company does some work on other projects locally. But they've done full-cycle projects in many countries. Larimar's their first in DR, I believe, so they haven't finished it, obviously, but they have broken ground. But well-funded, publicly traded, and getting to know the CEO and one of the other high-level executives in that company, I think they're doing things the right way and doing it with great intention. And I really like the products that they offer for their buyers. So CLERP is another developer that I've heard good things about. We haven't gotten to the bad developers yet, and we'll see how I approach that. But look, the number 1 developer in the country, and what I would tell you on the number 1 developer in the country. By the way, I see the chat over here. I'm going to come to that in a little bit. I want to deliver some value, then I'll go and answer questions. So drop questions in the chat. Here's why they're number 1. If you see their banner anywhere, follow that money as an investor. If you see their banner and they're all around the country, concentrated in one area, but they're all around the country, you want to follow that money. That's the first reason why they're a top developer. Number 2, this company is the only developer that I know of that has built community and then built their family within that community. Most developers build, move on to the next project. This developer has built like inroads in their premier products, and they stay invested. And 3, from what I see of how they operate with class, with dignity, and they operate in such a way that what's the phrasing for it here? I guess integrity, high integrity. Everything I've seen that they do. Nobody's perfect. They're not perfect, but they are the number 1 developer in this country. And actually, I'm buying a property in one of their developments right now. And that is, drum roll please, Grupo Punta Cana. Grupo Punta Cana not only has Punta Cana Village, Punta Cana Resorts. I choose to live in Punta Cana Village. That's where I'm buying. But they also have a hand in the W Hotel, which is in Ubero Alto. They have a hand in Punta Bergantine, which is up in Puerto Plata. They have a hand in Cabo Rojo, right? Grupo Punta Cana, where they go, follow that money. They're doing some stuff in Miches. The CEO of Grupo Punta Cana has his own resort in Miches called Zemi that opened recently, or I think it opened recently. So when you're looking at anything Grupo Punta Cana is doing, you have to understand and know that that project is fully backed, that their style is to create demand and then sell to it as opposed to build it and they will come. They are the premier developer in the country. And I mentioned about staying in the community. Here in Punta Cana Resort, Punta Cana Village, there's generations of the founders that live and work and operate the company. So it's the most investable, sure thing. Probably not going to give you the biggest ROI because they're more blue chip in country. So think of it like if you invest in Procter & Gamble or Apple, you're not going to get the same ROI as if you hit big on like a $2 stock on a startup company, right? More risk though with that it could go to zero. There's almost no risk in my opinion. And again, do your own due diligence. That Grupo Punta Cana can go to zero. But yeah, your returns are going to be smaller because when you buy in a community like this one right here that I'm in, 7, 8, 900,000 and up. If you buy over in Punta Cana Resorts, all the communities there, I mean, you might be able to get some stuff in that range, but most of the stuff, a lot of the stuff is $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million to buy property there. So you're not going to make a huge return on that, but it's a stable, steady, high-end development that's not going to go anywhere. So those are my takes on best developer. Let's talk about worst developer. Here's the challenge, guys. I'll be honest on sharing just like, oh, here are the 5 worst developers. Is number one, they could turn things around, right? Just because they're the worst right now doesn't mean that they're the worst. Like, I don't know about you guys, but have you ever started something, it got out ahead of you a little bit, and you had to do a lot of service recovery? Like, that happens. I can tell you the one absolutely bad developer would be Novasco, and they were found to be fraudulent. So there you go. There's the name of a bad developer. But there are some developers right now that are going through some things that I believe create risk, and I don't know if they have fully understood how much risk they're creating and then gotten out in front of it enough. Meaning, I don't know if they're changing their processes yet enough to give themselves the ability to climb out of their hole, if you will. Some of these developers that aren't great have done the things I've talked about. They've been through some stuff. They've gone full cycle on projects, and they live in the country, like they're local, So those are my 3 kind of first checkpoints. Those are my 3 checkpoints. Again, do your own due diligence. But when you look at continued sort of, I don't know, poor performance over time for some of these companies, you have to be mindful of the fact that maybe they're trending in the wrong direction. Am I going to name names today? No, but here's what I will do for you. Down in the comments of this video, I put together a newsletter article on the 5 top developments I'm asked the most about. The 5 I'm asked the most about. And 1 or 2 of them in there, you're going to see some really honest feedback on who they are, what they are, and what's going on with them. And the way I broke it down was, okay, here's the development. Here's where it is. Here's the price range on it. And then here's realtor feedback. I went out and got a bunch of realtors to give me feedback on these 5 developments. And then here's my thoughts. And then I give the bottom line on all of these. So there's 5 different developments down below. Click that link, get on the newsletter list. It's coming out at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday, August 8th. So you can access it immediately if you're watching it after that. If you're watching it before that, just wait till 5:30 on August 8th. But that'll share with you, I think, developers, 1 or 2 developers that are really struggling right now to get traction and that aren't giving an indication that they're changing their ways enough to make people comfortable with the investment. So you guys can take a look at that. Putting it on video for it always to be seen as publicly, if they turn things around, that's just not, I don't want to do that to them. If it's a resort, that's one thing, because resorts can change and people want to go anyway, price rules. But for developers, it's a different game, in my opinion. But the indications of a bad developer, honestly, the best thing, and I've said this on so many videos, is number 1, get a great realtor. The realtor will guide you. The realtor that is great knows that the relationship is more important than the transaction. The not so great realtor is just aiming to get you to close, and then whatever, you got to deal with it. You decided to go with that company. So get a great realtor who's going to say to you, and the realtors I refer all the time are like, I wouldn't put my worst enemy in that development. That's what they say on at least one of the ones in the list that I put together for all of you. I took a lot of time to put that together for all of you guys. So that is how that works. So I'm not going to name you names on this video, but you guys can grab that newsletter article. I know I'm teasing you, but just come on. Just go take a look. And you can see they're not all bad, by the way. The 5 on there, like 3 or 4 are good. And then the one or 2 are like, there's some issues here. So you'll see that once you download it. So that's what I got. So I'm going to go to the questions and answers here, see what you guys have for questions. And then we'll go from there. So I see Isael. What's up? Hey, what's going on, Isael? Saw you in the inner circle the other day, my friend. Thank you, JG. Love the channel. Like you said, I like your channel. I appreciate that. Rodney, you're the man. Rodney, inner circle member. Good to see you guys. You want to be in the inner circle? Listen, we've done some cool stuff in there. We've got discounted attorney rates. They were first in on the Miches Magua land project. They got first access, the inner circle, and even got to spend or pay the original price. Not the price has since gone up, but the inner circle had like an additional period of time to pay the original price. Like, it's all value in the inner circle, and the community we have in Facebook is insane. I go in there sometimes like, shoot, I haven't been in there in 2 days. I hope questions are answered. And there's like 12 answers to people's questions. It's amazing. People are helping each other out. We have 300 members in there right now, 300. So join that if you want to be part of something really cool. I do live Q&A on Zoom. So like face-to-face every week. I do an expert Q&A once a month. We've got the Facebook group. We've got some discount stuff. We got some really cool things happening, and only more will come. We're sending all the invites to your calendar. We're emailing out the videos afterward if you couldn't make it live. So that's what we're doing in the inner circle. Check it out. Is there a bank or institution, Robert asks, in DR that will accept the seller holding a second mortgage of 30% for the purchase of the property? The bank or institution would loan the buyer 70% for the purchase. Robert, that's a good question. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm sure there are ways that you can structure something. I'm sure, but I don't think banks would be keen on that. It's funny, going back to the Inner Circle, this month's Inner Circle guest, which is, we're confirming it, but should be next Friday at 2 p.m. So after the AMA, is a guy who's a mortgage officer for one of the big banks here. He's going to confirm with me. And if you're in the Inner Circle, it's going to be on Teams. I'll send you that link. It won't be on Zoom because I have to use his secure portal. I can't use mine. But that's a great question that we can maybe ask him and get an answer. So those that are in the Inner Circle attend live, great. If not, the recording will be sent to you afterwards. Howdy from North Carolina, says Stephen. Tired American here, planning to visit in October, 14 days, thinking Las Terrenas logistically for seeing the country, friends in Santiago to visit. Any mid-value stay recommends? Santiago and Las Terrenas. Well, Santiago is pretty inexpensive to stay anywhere. So just find the best neighborhood. If you get an Airbnb for a week, it's not that much. We've stayed right in the middle of Las Terrenas. We stayed in an Airbnb right on the strip, and it's loud. So I wouldn't recommend that, especially if you have kids. I don't know of a specific spot to stay, but the closer you can get to Playa Bonita, the better would be my thoughts for you on that. The closer you can get to Playa Bonita, the better. That's the best beach. They're all beautiful beaches. I think, again, I think has 27 beaches, and they're all gorgeous. But Playa Bonita just has something extra. So I would go the closest you can to that. Rude Dog, H-Town is here. Houston, I love it. Let's see. Toronia Stevens, purchased in Seaview Place in Cap Cana. I have an amazing developer, Jose Garcia Armenteros. Nice. Congrats to you. Carmine, afternoon from Vista Cana. Good to see you. Morning. We'll visit next week. Hope to see you and say hello. Luis, I love it. Yeah, maybe I'm around. We've got some travel back and forth. Our house should be closing in the States in about a week and a half. So my wife's going to have to go back to manage that closing. I'll be here with the kids. And then after that, I go to California for 3 days for an event that I'm hosting. And then I go to New York in early September, which if you're from New York, the Friday evening of Labor Day week, I think it's like the 5th or 6th, whatever that Friday is, I'm going to be at Radagast in Brooklyn. It's a bar, a big like brew house. Radagast in Brooklyn around 7 o'clock to meet whoever's going to come. Should be a good time. Do you know which contractors will build houses for the Legacy Beaches project? Isael, not yet. No. Cheryl, who's the founder of Boardwalk, is getting that list together. She's vetting approved contractors, if you will, and approved projects, approved floor plans, which I think you saw the original drawings that she put up in the Inner Circle call last week. But no, I don't have developers yet for that. To be honest with you, like it's a 5-year out build. Like I'm more like, all right, let's get the title, let's get everything done. Let me get the land, let me make sure it's set, and then make sure it's getting done the way they said it will before I even think about that. To be honest with you, that's just me. I just started watching video. I hope Clue Business is part of the good ones. I don't know Clue Business, Mesa. I'm not sure who they are. Do you know which contractor? We already talked about that. What about the north area, like Santiago or Jarabacoa? Today's Grupo Estrella, which I talked about as one of the top, they're probably like number 2 or 3 in the country from what I understand. Grupo Punta Cana stands alone, but Estrella's up there. They're building some stuff in Santiago area by Camp David. That looks really interesting. So that area is amazing. Jarabacoa, like I'll be honest, I haven't looked too much into individual developments in Jarabacoa. I did meet a developer at an event in Cap Cana that's doing stuff in Jarabacoa, but I haven't followed up. I should. I just love Jarabacoa. I mean, I would find what you love there and then vet the developer. It's just, I mean, it's like one of those places you could just disappear to. I don't know if you could. I just love that spot. So I don't know of a spot per se. I have an agent that works in that area that helps clients out. So all the links for like agents and attorneys and everything are down in the comments, guys, or down in the caption of the video if you need them. But that's what I got on Jarabacoa. But Estrella, Grupo Estrella is doing stuff in Santiago or outside of Santiago. Lady Gonzalez, any information on Cruise on Land? Yes, that's one of the 5 that I talked about in the newsletter article link below. So just click on it, register. It comes out August 8th at 5 p.m. Eastern. Or 5:30 p.m. So if you're watching this after that, you can just click on it and it'll pop right up for you. If you're watching it now and you register for the newsletter article, it's a special edition article today. 5 developers, breakdown of 5 developers. Cruise on Land is one of them. So I'll let that sit where it is. Hey, look, I got to tease you a little. I'm trying to build my newsletter list, get more people into my community. So there you go. Part of me just wants to blurt it out, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay true to this is the influencer side. Like, oh, you want something? Click below and I'll give it to you. There you go. It's the business of it, folks. Just bear with me. Let's see. The best engineer, Anna Thomas, Punta Cana Village. I've heard that. I've heard her name before. I'm buying land from Legacy Beaches. I hope I can start building in 3 years. Me too. Me too. But I'm honestly 5 years out in my mind. Nelson, when is the Inner Circle? Just joined on Monday. The Inner Circle is the community. So the Facebook group, Nelson, you should check your email. You should have a link to the Facebook group. Might be in spam. Sometimes your filter might send it to spam. But we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then we have once a month on a specific date that's, for the guest. Like for this one, I think it's next Friday the 15th, if he confirms, with an expert guest. We had Troy, who was a building inspector. We had Cheryl as a real estate agent. We had who was the other one? The first month, it was Gabrielle, who's the attorney, my attorney. If you guys want to use him, you can click the link. And he'll come back because there's a lot of legal questions still. So I'm going to have him come back. But those are all of the people so far. And then I've got a brand expert who's going deep on Cap Cana stuff. And then I've got a Latin American consulting firm, like a lead partner in the consulting firm, who's doing a ton of data analysis on Punta Cana. She's going to come in. She's already given me an 88-page document that I only shared with the Inner Circle. Like I'm saying, guys, I do the Inner Circle. Yes, it's an income stream, but it's really there to provide more than the $9 a month in value to you and give you some exclusive stuff that I won't share anywhere else. When are you announcing your meetup? I did. Conversa. When are you announcing your trip meetup in New York City? So I did on Instagram, but I'll say it again here and I'll put it on a YouTube post. Friday evening. What is that? I got to look here. Friday evening in September. It is the 5th. Friday the 5th at Radagast. Radegast brewery, I think it is, in Brooklyn. I think in the Williamsburg portion of Brooklyn. It's just a big open beer hall or whatever. So there might be 100, 150, 200 people that come. I don't know. But it's that evening, 7 p.m. Friday, September 5th at 7 p.m. Radagast in Brooklyn. That's when we're going to do it. What do you think about Casa Linda community? A lot of people have asked me about that. I haven't been. The reputation of Casa Linda is that it's a place where guys like to go back with their girls. But I don't know. I haven't been. There's other people that say it's a beautiful community, and I know they're doing a ton to clean up Sosua right now. But I don't think much about it because I don't know enough about it. But what I've heard on the downside is it might be a little bit overrun with that element, that Sosua-esque element. But I don't know that to be true. So definitely check in on it. Las Terrenas Playa Bejanas is beautiful and walkable. It's awesome. They all are, man. Everything in Las Terrenas is amazing. Announcing the trip to New York City. Thoughts on supply and demand in the greater Punta Cana area? I love this. LSH, great question. Here's my thoughts. I think that there is high risk of oversupply downtown. High risk of oversupply downtown. And the reason for high risk of oversupply downtown is a lot of people are prioritizing cheap buying over good buying. Good buying is beachfront or near beach, period. The number one asset that the Dominican Republic has in the world is beaches. Beaches. Most people don't want to come down and stay in an Airbnb in the middle of downtown and have to Uber their way all the way to the beach. They want to stay walking distance. They want to stay on. They want to be close. And the price point that you need to get, or that you can get, between like near beach and say downtown is like not that much different per night. So a lot of people bought downtown, and downtown's not bad. If you bought downtown because you're like, I see the future. I bought this. I'm 43 years old. I'm holding this for the next 20 years and I might retire there one day, or maybe I'll sell it. You're good. That's my opinion. But if you bought it with the idea that I need to Airbnb this thing, there's so much supply. It's very inexpensive compared to most of the rest of the Punta Cana area, and it's not ideally located. Now, the carve-outs here, Vista Cana, I don't think it's a good short-term rental option, but it's its own city. It's got all its own amenities in it. That I look at as a great future residential community, and it's building up that way. But downtown in general, I think risks oversupply. So what I would say is if you're looking at buying and you're going to buy downtown, again, like I said, with a long-term mindset, and you don't need income to be able to pay for it, like, I don't know, you're 50 something years old, you've got a nice retirement and pension coming, and you've got some cash to spend, and you've invested where you want to, and you want to get some exposure in DR, and the best budgetary item is downtown, but you're like, I was going to buy it. If I get a few Airbnbs, cool, but I could afford to send a cleaning lady over once every other week just to air it out, make sure it doesn't get musty. And I'm going to come stay there. When I come stay for 2-3 weeks a year, I'll stay there. Perfect buy. And it will go up in time. But in the short term, people talk about corrections. First off, there's always going to be a correction. And I don't trust anybody who says there's a correction without giving me a date. And even that, I don't trust the date, but it's like, I could say there's going to be a correction. And I'll be right at some point. In 3 years, somebody will be like, I told you it was coming. Okay, a correction's always come. That's like saying, I told you somebody's going to die. Like, people always die. But if you say there's going to be a correction in 6 months, I want to know why you think that. But that's at least a more credible statement to me. I believe there's a more likelihood of a correction in the shorter term downtown than there is Cortecito, Corrales, than there is Bibihagua, than there is Punta Cana Resort, Cap Cana, Vista Cana. I believe downtown has the greatest potential. Notice the word is believe. I'm not an expert. I'm not your financial advisor. That's what I believe. You may have data and information that completely contradicts that, and I'm glad. You go do that. But downtown, I think, is the oversupply. I think it speaks to a broader thing with real estate in general. So if you're in the real estate space, you're going to understand this. Be very, very careful with defining markets in broad terms. So when somebody says Austin is struggling, it's like, no. Certain neighborhoods in Austin are struggling. Certain neighborhoods in Austin have more demand than supply. It's the same thing. People, unfortunately, use DR real estate. It's like, no. There's Punta Cana. There's Gruber Punta Cana's real estate, which is right here. There's Cap Cana within the Punta Cana area. There's downtown. Then there's, penthouse versus like mid-level 2-bedroom that doesn't have a view. Like, there's so many different submarkets. So in other words, if you're in a building, let's say downtown, that has a penthouse 3-bedroom, there might be 5 of them or whatever. And there might be 100 people that want them. But then, so they therefore have enough demand for the supply, or more demand than supply. But in that building on lower levels, the 1 and 2 bedrooms, you might have 1,000 of them and you might have 500 people that want them. I'm using just basic numbers. These aren't real numbers. That's where you have oversupply. And that's my thing. I've invested in Cortecito. And everyone that doesn't want to invest, or that looks at Cortecito and doesn't want to invest there, they go like, oh, the roads, and they've taken forever. They haven't done anything in years. And I completely agree with you. But I'll tell you what, I've always been the investor that sees the prince in the frog. I don't know of a place where you're going to buy a block from the beach for 170, 180 grand for a condo. I don't know of a place in the Punta Cana area. I just don't. Not that close. Maybe a few blocks, maybe a short drive, but not that close. The reason you can right now is because the roads are a mess. They have flooding issues and they need to make a lot of improvements. There's been dedicated funds by the government and they're taking way too long to allocate them. They recently in Cortecito shared, and Bávaro Digital shared this, that they're actually putting out to bid the work to different contractors and they're taking their sweet ass time on this. So it's going to be a while, but real estate's a long-term game, in my opinion. For people, this just happened in my house. All right, I'm going to get on a tangent here. This happened in my house in the States. We had a tenant in the house for the initial showings. And people came and looked in the house and they're like, oh, no. The tenant moved out. The house is the same. We just got rid of her stuff, right? She had some clutter stuff. She was in the process of moving. So it's a little messy. People came back and like, oh, now I'll make an offer. I'm always blown away at how people cannot see the potential in something or can't see past the movable. The key to all real estate, in my mind, is location, location, location. Cortecito, Corrales in this area offer the only location near beach for that price point, that reasonable price point that you can buy and then ride the market up. So that's my take on that. I don't know where I started with that question, but that's how I'm ending it. What else we got here? Gracias on Playa Bonita recommendation. Of course, Steven, you're welcome. Sorry. Clue Business are the owners of Seven Palms. Oh, I know Seven Palms. Building a few projects in Vista Cana. Congrats. That's amazing. Mario Gomez. What about the project in Cortecito? What's the name? It's called Boardwalk is the developer. I said it's called Boardwalk. It's called Maple Suites. Maple Suites. There's Maple Beach, which is built and done. And then Maple Suites is, and here you go, guys. It was going to be delivered like mid this year. I knew that was going to happen. They said late this year. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not going to happen. I've been anticipating early to mid next year. So they're delayed in delivery, but I really don't give a shit, right? Like, okay, cool. I go there every month. And the advantage you have with Maple Suites is go look at my channel. I have a playlist, like 4 or 5 different visits showing you the progress each time. You can go see the construction. You can see that it's being built. I drive over there and see this being built. It's like a value offering for many of you, but so many people are like, ew, the streets are icky. It's like, yeah, they are. That's what I love about it. My first real estate purchase I ever bought was at full retail. It was fully done. And I lost $50,000 on that purchase 15 years later. The next 2 real estate purchases I bought, this is in the United States, all in the United States. The next 2 I bought had structural issues. They were falling apart. They were a mess, right? They needed about $30 to $35,000 to repair them. I got a good price on the house, and it actually ended up being $70,000 on both of them. I thought it was going to be 35 and 35. It was 70 and 70. I undershot the repair by half. When we sold those properties, we sold them for almost double because we drove price. The same thing is what Cortecito is to me. Like, you're going to buy in a neighborhood where the price is suppressed compared to most other near beach communities. And it's got high Airbnb demand. There's a ton of investment going in Cortecito Corrales. I'm willing to wait a year, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years for the roads to be fixed. I am. And I believe in my heart that that's what will happen. So value add investing is my play. But it's Maple Suites. Sorry, I'm on tangents today. LSH, do you still offer one-on-one consults? Yeah, I put it out there. Like, honestly, guys, I did this thing. So many people were asking, and it's like, look, I'll get on a Zoom call for $500. And people are like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, then don't pay it. Like, I'm just saying, like, if it's really, really, really worth it to you, here you go. I don't put the link out. If somebody insists, I'll email it to you, but that's my time. Because you understand, like, to do a call on a Zoom, I have to interrupt everything else that I do. I run 2 businesses and I have my content and a family. It's got to be worth my time. So for me, 500 is the minimum I'd be willing to spend an hour with somebody on. And I don't know, 3 or 4 people in the last 6 months have done it. But yeah, just make sure that you've got an intention that you want to have one of the guys, I'm going to see him tonight. He's coming to a little get together we're doing. Carmine, he was one of the first guys that did the consult with me, and I gave him everything. Veterinarians, where to get a car, like everything, and customized it for him. I followed up on stuff I didn't know and emailed it to him. And he said, man, it was worth every penny. We saved so much on the move and on the investment and everything because of the information that we got from you. And now, yeah, we're hanging out tonight. He's a great dude. He moved here, him and his wife. She's Dominican. He's American. Hey, another one. So I do the consults, but I think I only have like 2 times a week I'll even do them. Like, it's literally like, if you really want it, here's the bars. It's on the time that I designate, and it's this price, and I'll do it. Absolutely. But it's not something I like, hey, everyone, I do consults. Nah, join the inner circle. That's to me a better way to do it. Jump in the inner circle. It's $9 a month. And we do the Zoom once a week, and you can, I'm sure, get your question in there. But if you need the one-on-one time, I can do that for you. You're welcome. Conversa. Tropics. Is there any concern locally with the number of projects Noval has in the pipeline have grown too fast? Yeah. At the beginning of this, I talked about Noval being one of the reputable developers I hear about. Mostly, generally speaking, most people in the area see them as reputable, but they acknowledge the delays. That absolutely is the concern. That's the concern, that there's too many projects in the pipeline. COVID might have stymied them, shut them down a bit, and then trying to come out of it and catch up across so many projects is probably the problem. I mean, everyone got sort of shut down in COVID and is still catching up in some way. But when you've got this many projects versus this many, it's going to take more to catch up. But everything I've seen and have heard seems like they're financially viable, meaning they've got the backing, they're moving forward. And I had mentioned there was a project, somebody had said, I haven't even seen it break ground in the inner circle. And I went out there and looked and showed them yeah, actually it has. Here's some photos of it. So again, I like to serve that group. Las Nomadas in Las Terrenas is amazing. Playa Colón. Yeah. Honestly, if you get a chance, go out to Las Guerreras and go to the 7 Beaches tour. What was the one beach where they filmed? Somebody will know it. Pirates of the Caribbean. It was beautiful. I had these cliffs overhead. The boat ride there will make you want to vomit, but it was gorgeous. I can't remember the name of that beach, but it was amazing. How you doing? You think about a Sun District in Ciudad del Sol, Bávaro. What do you think about Sun District in Ciudad del Sol, Bávaro? I've been asked to go to Ciudad del Sol a lot, and I'll be very honest. Ciudad del Sol is fine. It's just that I believe it's a lower cost project. And I don't know how to put it. It's it doesn't interest me as much. It's not an ideal location for a lot of the people that follow. I've had so many, and this is just, I take feedback. I've had so many people say, yeah, I saw this project's only 80,000. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't trust it. No, it's good. The realtor, whatever. And then they go and look at it. They're like, oh, it's in the middle of Beron, which is fine. But that's not what that's not the imagery on the video, right? Del Sol's a reputable place and it's beautiful. I know I have friends that live there. It's just not a place that I see as oh, this is the spot you got to go. I think it's very niche, very specific. It's just not, it doesn't light me up, if that makes any sense. Casa Linda is similar to Vista Cana, a self-contained community with villas and townhouses coming soon with European builders that have a proven track record and not affected by Sosua downtown woes. Rude Dog, you sound did you copy paste that, or are you a shill? Are you a shill for Casa Linda? That sounded very corporate. I was in corporate 21 years. I can sniff it, my friend. I don't know if I like it, Rue Dog. Are you a shill for Casa Linda? Is your name Casa Linda? Huh? We'll see. We'll see, Rue Dog. Got my eyes on you. Jamie, how do you keep such stylish hair? Ah, yes, the Norelco. I don't know what it is, but the Norelco shaver every other day. Might be due today. I did it yesterday, but I'm filming a Grub with Gruber tonight, so I might need to do it before I go do that. Where else are we here? Casa Linda, we talked about. What's up with Puerto Plata? Any recommendations? Thanks. As far as staying, no. Buying, like I said in the beginning, Grupo Punta Cana is who I consider to be the best developer. I would keep my eyes on Punta Bergantin because they have a hand in that. So that to me is the spot, the future spot in Puerto Plata. Still a long way to go, obviously, but that's my my thought there. Sorry, Jamie. Johanna again. Hey, I had to step away so you can repeat the date and time when you come to New York. It is, yeah, no, it's fine because more people are joining. If you're in New York City on September 5th, Friday, right after Labor Day, 7 p.m., and you're willing to go to the Radagast Brewery, I think it is, Radagast, Radegast in Brooklyn. I think it's Williamsburg. I'll be there at 7 p.m. Friday night, September 5th, 7 p.m., Radagast Brewery. That is where I'm going to be just doing a get-together. Nothing, just grab a drink, say hi. I'll meet as many people as I can. It'll be a lot of fun. Maybe you'll meet some new people there as well. And Johanna, it's good to see you. Another Inner Circle member. Ivan, as always, great information. I'm glad. Crispy, have any recommendations for contractors good for electrical, plumbing, air conditioning, specifically in Santiago? I do not, Crispy. I'm sorry. Mario Gomez, thank you very much for the answer. You have a great view of investment now. What do you think about Bahia Ibe, First Line Beach Project Del Mar? Bahia Ibe and Dominicus are amazing beaches, beach areas, beach area. There's a lot of development going in there. No sargasm. That's a big benefit for that area. And there is a lot of private money going into it. Why I'm not as like, let me go check out Bahia Ibe right away. Keep this in mind. It's like, as I say what I'm going to say next, you're talking about from an investment standpoint and all of the options, you're talking about, what do they say? It's like something of riches. We're talking about like 1A, 1B, 1C. We're not talking about like, this is good and this is bad, but I'll just tell you why it's at the low end of what I like Bahia Ibe in general. Not that I like, but on the low end of where I have interest from an investment standpoint. If I look at all the other stuff, Miches, Rio San Juan, Barahona, Pedernales, Punta Cana still, Las Terrenas, where else am I not thinking of? I mean, even Santo Domingo, Santiago, there's so much government money going in along with private. There's so much infrastructure being built. It's got the attention of both sides, private and public money. La Romana, Bahia Ibe, Dominicus, Playa Nueva Romana, that area doesn't. There's a lot of private money there, but it just doesn't get at all the public attention. And a good example, I would say, is La Romana Airport. Punta Cana Airport is expanding flights, new flights. Santiago is getting new flights. Santo Domingo is getting new flights. Puerto Plata is getting new flights. There's only been one that I've seen, new flight announcement to La Romana, and that was like a year and a half ago, American doing a once-a-day route from Miami. That's it. Otherwise, there's just no interest in doing anything. Now, I get it. Punta Cana's here. Santo Domingo's here. It's an hour drive, but I don't see any public funding. I don't see any public attention there. When the Rio San Juan project went, David Collado was there with what's his name? With A-Rod. That's a small area. The only thing I've seen in that whole area where Collado or Abinader got involved was the Malicon. I said it the wrong way once before. I said it sounded like Maricon. The Malicon in San Pedro. When they released the renovation of that, I think Collado went to that. But other than that, there's just not the public attention on La Romana. Maybe there's a good reason. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation. Oh, they don't need it. They have enough private money. Like, okay, but they have enough private money in Punta Cana. They have enough private money in Las Terrenas. They have enough private money in Rio San Juan. But that public attention means something to me. Again, we're talking like if the line is good here and the line is here and then below it is bad, I mean, we're talking everything is up here. Everything I've talked about is up here. I don't know of any bad. I mean, I don't. Like, I can't think of like an area I'd say, well, I wouldn't invest there. Like, everything is on the good, right? It's just the country's on the up and up. But on the side of the good, Bahia Ibe is toward the bottom for me. That's all. My wife went there recently, and she's like, growing up here, she's like, Bahia Ibe Beach used to be so cool. Now it's like dominated by resorts, and it's like packed. There's so many people. At least the day she went, Bahia Ibe for me was always the launch for Saona. I would just go there for that, Isla Saona. But I just wonder about the sustainability of that area long term. but I don't think it's a bad investment. I should say sustainability. I wonder about the attention in that area long term, but I think it's a fine area. It's a long answer on it, but I feel compelled to explain why La Romana never gets my attention. I always talk about almost everything else in the country. La Romana just never hits me. There's a bakery in La Romana that I want to check out though. I can't remember the name of it, but I do want to go see that. So see a couple more questions and we'll get you guys out of here. I do have a corporate management background, but was inquiring about the area. Was planning a trip. Rude Dog, I got you. I was just messing with you. I'm going to start calling you Casa Linda the one I see you. What do you think of Eden Tropical next to Maple Beach, Maple Suites? I haven't looked at it, Rude Dog. I kind of focus in on my thing when I'm there, and then I might go get a bite to eat, and then I'm out. So I haven't looked at it, to be honest with you. Have you ever heard of Sudamisir developers in Punta Cana? No, I have not. Isael, what do you think is the Airbnb potential of Legacy Beaches? I don't know, Isael. I honestly don't. It really is going to depend. Legacy Beaches, for those that are wondering what I'm talking about, Legacy Beaches is the land project that I've talked about. Like, I'm investing. Anybody that wants to, here you go. Here's a link and all that stuff. Isael, I believe, is in there, as have I. I don't know. I mean, I think it's definitely going to attract veterans, because that's a focus for Cheryl, buying and then staying, because they're going to have a veterans hospital. So as I think through this, like the Veterans Hospital, I think is a very attractive for Airbnb to the area, but there's going to be a lot of building there, right? You got what, 500 of the small lots and like 200-300 of the medium and big lots. So there's like 800 units that'll be built there at some point. I don't know. I look at it honestly more as like, hey, I'm going to buy this land. It's whatever. I got the large lot, the luxury lot. I think it was 70,000. The cheap ones are 22 now, 22,000. The small ones, not the cheap ones, but the small ones, the most inexpensive. And I just see it. And Cheryl said it really well the other day. People are like, well, it's not Miches, it's Magua. That's like right next to it. Miches, Magua, it's right there. But that's like saying, oh, that's not Punta Cana, it's Bávaro. If you go back 30 years or 40 years, Punta Cana was right where I'm sitting only. Bávaro is now Punta Cana, right? Ubero Alto is considered Punta Cana. This is Miches, like Bávaro is Punta Cana. Does that make sense? It's like right next to it, about a 15-minute drive to the beach. So I just look at it as the upside on that land in time, or leaving it to my kids so they've got a place to go. Like I'm not like ROI month to month sensitive on this. It's funny. I'm equity sensitive. Cheryl and I were talking about this because I said, hey, how can I help with Boardwalk? She's like, well, how do you understand? I'm like, look, I'm all for arrangements where if something good happens for you, I get paid, but I'm more interested in equity. At this phase of my life, I'm more interested in ownership. Know this, when I quit my job was a big paycheck, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, but my job also provided me equity because I was at that level. So I would get stock awards every year of $50,000 to $60,000 to $70,000, and then those stock awards would vest. So when I left, my account, even the unvested stock, had all this stock in it that appreciated in value, and I had to just sort of like hand it back. Wasn't mine technically, but it was I could see it. Like, one day this is mine. As long as I don't get fired, this is mine. And that was nearly $1 million. So when I left my job and I went in and I grinded and figured out like how to earn a living, and I've done that outside of all this content stuff, although I'm starting to build income streams with the content, admittedly, like why not? I told her, like, I'm interested in equity, ownership. Like, I bought real estate. I've done all that. I'm invested in real estate in the States, but I just wanted more and more equity because I see value in that. So that's what I'm looking at doing with this land. That's what I'm looking at doing even with the Airbnb that I'm buying in Cortecito. The only thing is the house I'm buying in this neighborhood, that's just for me, right? That's just ours. That's just to live, to raise my children. So I'm not looking at that as an investment. Honestly, it's an expense, right? Because nobody's going to be renting it from me. So that's how I look at Miches Legacy, is an equity play for me. But I don't know. I don't know what the Airbnb market is. I just know that as more projects release there, like Secrets just opened, Dreams will open, Four Seasons is being built, Hilton, the other projects that are being built. There's Zemi, which opened. There's a Marriott property going in there, and so many more. Like, that area will get golf courses and restaurants and amenities and grocery stores and hospitals and all of that. It's just going to become a spot where the locals will see two sides of it. They'll get boxed out of some areas living wise, but they'll also have more job opportunity. And to be honest with you, whenever we visit a town and talk to locals, they understand that balance and they're like, bring it. We'd rather the job opportunities. That's just what they tell me. Americans, Dominican Americans in particular, lecture me about how bad it is for people. And then I wonder, like, are you talking to them? Because they don't seem to think it's bad. Like, they seem to think it's good. And what I've learned is most Dominican Americans can't imagine making $500 a month and that being a livable wage, but it is for these folks at least. Are they making it work for them? I don't know. I'm going down a rabbit hole here, but anyway, it'll create opportunities there. And then these amenities will drive up value in the area just in general. Exposure to that area will cost more than it does today. So that's what I'm looking at it as. And again, that's just an investor ROI mindset. I just want to thank you for teaching me the direction that DR is heading. Thank you. You're welcome, Ralph. Gasproin is a top developer. Yeah, I've heard of them. We have a garden in Capcana. I've heard of them. I don't know enough about them, but I have heard of them, and I haven't heard anything bad about them. Last question, Mario says, there's a new project in Cabeza de Toro. Do you know who the developer is? And no, I don't. I'll have to take a look. You're welcome, Isael. Thanks, Jamie, for support and great answers. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. This is fun. I like these lives. Are these good? Do you like these lives? Or is it something where it's like, nah, just record something and put it out. We don't want to see your live stupid face. I get it either way. But like, are these lives good? Because what I want to do going forward is release a video for you on YouTube on Wednesday. And that will be more like newsy, like information. Like I'm doing one on credit rating and the impact of that. I'm doing one on, I forget the other one. And then on Sunday, I want to release one, and that'll be more travel and lifestyle. And then every Friday doing this Ask Me Anything. So if it's helpful, I'm glad, but I want to make sure that it's a good use of your time and mine. But so far, I've enjoyed these. I like going live. I like talking about them. And again, if you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps grow the channel. It helps do all of that. And I donate to Second Mile Mission, 2 cents for every subscribe that we get. And yeah, check out the links down below. I don't know how you do it on a live. Maybe it's after it uploads, you'll see it. But the Inner Circle is available if anybody wants to join it. There's connections to realtors and attorneys and all that stuff. There's the newsletter. And then if you're all looking, if you're just joining good and bad developers, I did a review of 5. It was sort of reluctant because I'm always like, I don't want to just talk about developers. But I asked about the 5 developments I'm asked about the most. I went to realtor friends. I looked at it myself, and I gave a whole outline of these 5 different developers or developments and gave you my true and honest thoughts based on what I'm hearing. They're the 5 that I'm asked about the most. I think there's Latimar in there, Cruise on Land, a couple others. So you can check that out. Just download, click the link below, and you'll get on the newsletter list. It comes to your inbox today, Friday, August 8th at 5:30 p.m. So if you get it, if you see this after that and you click the link, you should get it right away. If you see it before that, just check your inbox at 5:30. It's a special edition of my Gruber Nation newsletter. And that's what I got. You are welcome, LSH. Rude Dog. Keep them coming. Okay, good. So the 5 or 6 of you say, yeah, this is great. Keep doing them. Happy to. I'll leave it there. I appreciate all of you being here. I'm sure a video will pop up here for those of you watching it on replay. So you can watch that one next, whatever YouTube thinks you should. And I will see you all next Friday. See you guys.